Hi guys, have you ever wondered what would happen if time itself suddenly stopped for just 1 second? Not slowed down, not paused in your mind, but truly stopped everywhere in the universe. Today, we're diving into that impossible question, and trust me, even 1 second would change everything. Here on In Simple Terms, we take complex ideas and explain them in a simple, clear way. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Enjoy the video. The moment time stops, the very concept of movement disappears. Every atom, every particle, every photon, everything that exists, relies on time to change, to move, to flow from one state to another. If time stops, nothing can move, not even light. You wouldn't blink, your heart wouldn't beat, and no neuron in your brain could fire. You'd be frozen. But here's the strange part. You wouldn't even know it. Because awareness itself depends on time. To realize something, your brain needs to process change, and without time, there's no before or after. Just a single, unmoving instant. It's like taking a single frame of a movie and erasing the rest. In that frozen second, everything that exists would be suspended in absolute stillness. But let's think about what stopping time even means. Does it mean every clock stops ticking? Or does it mean the universe itself loses its sense of progress? If time stopped only for you, if somehow your body could escape the laws of time, the consequences would be even stranger. You'd be standing in a universe locked in place, where air molecules no longer move, light can't reach your eyes, and sound can't reach your ears. You'd instantly go blind and deaf, because both light and sound depend on motion through time. It wouldn't be a silent or dark world. It would be no world at all, because your senses would have nothing to register. Essentially, you'd vanish from experience, trapped in an unchanging moment. But if time stopped everywhere for 1 second, no one would notice, because that 1 second wouldn't exist in our perception. From your perspective, it would be like the universe skipped ahead. One frame missing, one moment gone, and no one could ever detect it. But physics tells us that time isn't just a clock. It's woven into the fabric of the universe itself. Space and time are connected, forming what we call space-time. That means if time stops, space collapses too. The distances between objects wouldn't even make sense anymore, because distance requires a concept of measurement, and measurement happens through time. Without time, the universe as we know it doesn't just pause, it ceases to exist in any meaningful way. Let's break it down even further. Time isn't just something we experience, it's a dimension, just like height, width, and depth. When you move through space, you're constantly also moving through time. Even sitting still, you're travelling forward in time at 1 second per second. So if time stopped, you'd lose your path. Not just your motion, but your very existence in the timeline. Think about atoms. They're constantly vibrating, electrons orbiting nuclei, forces exchanging particles. All of that requires time. Stop time, and those forces can't act. The electromagnetic field would freeze, gravity would stop curving space, and matter itself would lose its structure. Every atom in your body would become meaningless, because its stability depends on those interactions continuing, second by second, trillionth by trillionth. In other words, time stopping wouldn't be like pressing pause, it would be like deleting the very program that lets the universe run. Nothing would be destroyed, but nothing could exist in any active sense either. It would be the ultimate stillness, absolute and unreachable. But what if we somehow limited this effect? Say, time stopped only for 1 second, and then resumed. Would there be any damage? Surprisingly, yes. Because in physics, energy and momentum are conserved through time. Stopping time, even briefly, would break those laws. When time resumes, every system would have to recalculate its position. Imagine every planet, every atom, every photon suddenly jumping ahead 1 second in position, without having actually moved through that second. It would create unimaginable chaos. Planets could shift, atoms could destabilize, entire systems could break apart because their natural flow was interrupted. Even your own body, your heartbeat, your neurons, the air molecules you breathe, would all be out of sync for that instant. It might seem tiny, but in a universe built on precision, 1 second of total time failure would be like dropping a wrench into the gears of reality itself. Yet here's what's fascinating. According to Einstein's theory of relativity, time isn't fixed. It stretches and bends depending on speed and gravity. In that sense, stopping time isn't entirely impossible. It already happens in extreme conditions. Near a black hole, for example, time slows so much due to gravity that from an outside perspective, it seems to almost stop. But for the person falling in, time keeps moving normally. This shows us that time's flow isn't universal. It's relative, flexible, and deeply tied to how we experience motion and space. So, if time can stretch near black holes, could we ever truly make it stop? Theoretically, only at a singularity, the core of a black hole, where gravity is infinite and physics as we know it breaks down. At that point, time does stop, at least from our perspective. But even then, it's not a peaceful pause. It's the collapse of all order, where cause and effect no longer make sense. For us, living in the ordinary universe, time is unstoppable. It's not a force we can turn on and off. It's the stage on which everything happens. Without it, there's no happening at all. Every memory, every heartbeat, every sunrise exists because time flows forward, giving reality direction. It's the reason stories can unfold and why we can remember the past but not the future. Imagine if, just for 1 second, that flow was gone. No clocks would tick, no particles would move, no light would travel. The entire universe would fall into a state that's beyond silence or darkness, something we can't even describe because language itself depends on sequence, on time. The moment time started again, everything would continue exactly as before, and no one would notice that gap. It would be as if that second had never been written into reality's script. But that idea raises a strange question. If time could stop and start again without anyone realizing it, how could we ever be sure it hasn't already happened? Maybe, somewhere in the deep history of the cosmos, time did blink. 1 instant missing. A gap so small and absolute that not even the universe could record it. And perhaps that's the secret. Time is so fundamental that the only moment it can truly stop is the one we'll never know about. So the next time you look at a clock, think of it not just as a measure of seconds, but as a window into the very flow that keeps existence alive. Every second passing isn't just another tick, it's the universe continuing to be. Thanks for watching, see you in the next video.